chat. And I'm so excited to have a beautiful special guest on this afternoon, beautiful Erena, who I met last year in this really gorgeous retreat space where I was supporting a beautiful mentor and friend, Burr, and Erena was gifted this beautiful space to come. And I just loved your energy and your amazing laugh. And um, just the amazing work that you do that I got to know over that time as well. So I'd love for you, Erina, to just introduce a little bit about who you are, who you serve, and just, yeah, let's chat.
Yeah, great. Yes, so I am a soulful wellbeing coach. I specifically help women that are looking to release traumatic energy, traumatic stress, heighten their intuitive perception, and have mental health so that they can fully step into their leadership and start to create the life by design.
Oh,
A lot of them have experienced life challenges that have built up a lot of energetic plaque, shall we say, that is impacting on their ability to move and flow with the natural frequency and life force that they are here to bring into the world in service to the whole. A lot of the times I'm using different techniques and modalities and sharing medicine around lived experience of trauma to be able to support them to release traumatic stress and to fully step into remembering who they are as a spiritual being having a human experience.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a
Wow.
little bit about me.
Amazing. And I love the work you're doing, and I'm so blessed to have experienced like your magic and medicine and also witness you in your leadership too. I remember when we were connecting more last year and going through one of your processes through the body, noticing, I think there was something to do with my ribs and releasing, there was like deep pain or something just really innate that I didn't realize was there. And when I was kind of, going into that process in the physical body, there was so much emotion that came up to shift and just allowing, that to be felt. And I remember crying and you just holding that space. And I was like, I did not even expect that to be released in the grief and in the pain that was being kept in my ribs, which was linked to, other pieces that you went through, which was really beautiful. And I can, be a testament now that these processes, not just with yourself, but with other amazing women and work that I've done with myself and really honing in that all of these beautiful modalities and pieces of wisdom, when you really hone in, the transformation that happens over time, and sometimes it's short and sometimes it's a bit longer, is really phenomenal. And yeah, just want to thank you because you unlocked another layer within me to go in. So, like, why do you love doing this work?
I love doing this work selfishly because I get to witness women stepping into their power. I just was really drawn into this line of work through my own journey of healing. I found that healing is possible, and I wanted to share ways with women that were very practical, that, they didn't need to change or they weren't wrong. That I come from a very different approach where I feel as though I see their soul is perfect, whole, and complete. And anything that has happened is usually just not integrated, or there's not a beautiful packaged understanding of that for them.
Yeah, this word integration that comes up, like it's, I'd love for you to share what your understanding of that is. Like for me, people suppress and separate, and part of our mind and the beauty of our logic is to understand in separation and to compartmentalize and go, well, that's from that and that's from that and that's from that. But then to actually embrace that and integrate that into your experience and understanding. Like, what does integration mean to you, I suppose, in regards to embodiment?
In regards to embodiment, well, when I usually work with women that have had life challenges, particularly with DV or childhood trauma, a lot of the times what's happened with the memory of that event is that it's pixelated, it's distorted, and there's so many different moving pieces, energetic pieces as well. And it's really challenging for them to create a concrete narrative around that event with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so it always feels as though it's in it's like all the puzzle pieces are there, but they cannot be put together. So for me, when I talk about integration, particularly with working with people, it's about aligning all the different pieces so that they have an understanding, not just with the mental aspect of it, but also with their emotions, with their body, with their mental, with their energetic, and with their spiritual. So really coming to it in alignment and integration with all of the parts of them. So holistic approach is definitely what I encourage, and everyone that comes to me and has an understanding that that is the way that I operate.
Yeah, I really love that. And that holistic approach of like mind, body, spirit, and understanding all the facets, even in my own journey, I thought I was quite embodied and really balanced and things until something happened. And, and the universe and my own trauma and going down into the depths of the darkness really shifted those narratives and how I identified or thought I did, and allowed me to just go deeper within, which wasn't a pretty place to be. And it's hard sometimes, when we understand like the light and the positivity and the goodness in ourselves and others, but then it's like, but I'm still experiencing this thing. Why? What have
And I
yeah,
think
please.
that's to do with energetic imprints as well, which is a recent modality that I've been training in, is about going back to the origin and the source so that it can be dissolved.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things that you're talking about is patterns. We have these patterns that are self-fulfilling because of their operating system with those erroneous beliefs that we absorb during childhood from 0 to 8. Those are the things that we unconsciously are moving through the world with that lens.
Yeah.
And so if we're able to go back, to the sensation, to the tension and the stress of that and identify it and bring it back into wholeness so that it's safe and held and loved and, complete, then it dissolves many of those reactivations.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And there are many modalities and ways that I know yourself and other amazing healers, medicine women, facilitators, people in this field that have that really grounded awareness of working with the human spirit in the body, and that sense of wholeness. I was talking to another beautiful friend of mine, Felicia, who and this concept of in our humanness thinking we're broken, thinking that we need to be fixed, when that deep knowing of how loved we are and how whole we are is sometimes a journey of that separation and breaking away and feeling the opposite and the contrast of what it is to not feel loved, to then come back to that place, which can be a journey.
And that's why I love moving women in particular through my signature solutions, because that's exactly where we're heading, is to reaffirm, confirm, and have it, not just as a fleeting remembering that we're a spiritual being, but actually to step in and to fully embody that that is who I am in all contexts.
Yeah.
It makes you move differently in the world when we're talking about high vibrational chats, right? That is high vibrational. Authenticity, coming back into your heart, lifting up so that your frequency is able to create as part of the, symphony of the universe, and those that resonate with your frequency, which we do, we create a song, right? And a song that people would love to hear and to heal from.
Yeah. I love that metaphor. I wrote something in a post about, the harmony and noticing the disharmony and the discord.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to come into harmony with an orchestra, they have to be, in discord and not in harmony to tune. And it's like our human experience, feeling the discord, feeling the separation, feeling the depth of the shit, which is like fucking hard sometimes, in the discord, in the resistance. In this beautiful revelation that this is the fine tuning.
Yeah. And I find that when women come in and step into my healing space, that they have really done the hard. They've had the challenges, and they're ready to start building those positive and joyful vibrations back into their nervous system so that they have something to hold on to. And bring forth more bliss, more peace, more, of that inner strength and resilience to move forward and whatever their version of success is.
Yeah. And a lot of that, does come down to us understanding our emotions. And
I do a lot of work around emotions.
Yeah, and not making them wrong or bad.
Yes.
I was in a grade 3 class yesterday talking about emotions, and we're talking about sadness and anger. And even as 7, 8-year-olds, I was like, is this a good or a bad feeling? Just to say. And then so many of them were like, that's bad, that's bad. I'm like, but what if they were just feelings and there isn't good or bad? And they're just there to communicate to us. And I could see a lot of little light bulbs going, oh, okay. Like, it's okay to feel frustrated at people, and even at that age, as you mentioned before, that developmental stage of being able to build that awareness. I think more schools and more families are very aware, but some of us are not, and so I think conversations like this, that mums are listening in, or sisters, aunties, daughters, that listen in, they get to go, well, how else could I reframe that and be kinder to my emotions? Because I know as women, we suppress and we make bad and we make wrong, right?
Yeah. And it's really interesting about, the emotional spectrum and being able to access the full range of emotions that we have, and allowing, as you were saying, more acceptance that these are okay. I'm okay with feeling rage. I'm okay with feeling angry. I'm okay with feeling sad. All of those things. A lot of the times, that's how I really started in getting into working with women in particular that had experienced DV, traumatic experiences, those kind of things, is through the creative processes as a creative therapist, and being able to move with the senses to be able to tap in and recognize that it is okay to move through those more icky, shall we say, more icky, challenging emotions that not many people can sit with, which I find is, I'm quite open to that, to witnessing that. And one thing that I've really noticed a resurgence of is that concept of sacred rage. Of where is you're like, yes. It's something that's been coming up quite a lot. And if you've heard of because I work with a lot of divine feminine goddesses, if you've heard about the goddess Sekhmet and how she talks about sacred rage and the meanings in the way that we can interpret how powerful that is to have that, because it signals to us that there is an injustice that has happened, and what action can we take from knowing that. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. It comes up a lot, and it takes a while to really fully be able to tap into particularly very primal
Mm,
instincts of rage
yeah.
uh, through the womb.
I've just
Mm.
got goosebumps because I think before I met you, I had gone through a process that was activated um, through dance, through live music.
Mm.
Um, at another retreat, I was helping out with and photographing down in New South Wales with beautiful Yana and Sophia, and it was this embodiment dance through the elements. And when we got to fire, the fire piece, it was like something within the music and the words, and also like allowing myself to fully be in the anger and the rage and the fire.
Yeah,
Like something in my belly just like raged. And I shared some
yeah,
photos of this where I dropped to my knees, and it was like, and it wasn't, it was for me, it was for my lineage, it was for the women in the space. It
yes,
felt like for all women. And I was like,
yes.
why are you not doing anything? Like, why aren't you saying anything? Why? And I was just like, just letting that anger out in that safe space to be felt. And the energy through that
Mm.
and that release was very primal. And there were pieces before that through other amazing, shamans I was connecting with, and threads that were like something primal is about to be released. And it was like those intuitive pieces of like, okay, what does that look like? What does that surrender to? I just like, it was a process, and my body took a while to allow that pain, the trauma to be uh, surrendered to, because there was still
Mm.
parts of me resisting what that rage and that anger was,
Mm.
and in that awareness, in the feeling, and also the residual body feeling the tiredness and feeling the energetic pieces of that through that release.
And
And
that's really interesting that you say that because um, I think we've become quite conditioned with the information overload. You know, everything is really accessible, and our attention spans and our acknowledgement that there is an unfolding that happens that allows these experiences to unfold in various layers. So that because when you think about it, if you think about like rage is all the way at the bottom of the iceberg, and then we've got all these other maskings that are kind of
mm,
covering all of that because rage is not always being acceptable, right? It's not acceptable. And, if you go to the shopping center, it's not acceptable in your workplace. So a lot of the times we mask it over with frustration, with anger, and then maybe I'm just being a little bit silly. And then you try and like you cover it and cover it and cover it and cover it. And you've been doing that for years
yeah,
years and years and years and years. And so to start to take off those layers, as you were saying, like you need to go through and experience what does this mean for me? Is it ready to shift? Because I never go in and dig around for, things that might be disrupting
mm,
inside of you, like really like, making it uncomfortable. I notice that when women come in, that sensation, that energy, that stress is ready to be shifted
yeah,
because of all of the things that they have usually been doing along their journey,
yeah,
or whether they've been working with me for a while and now this has naturally come up to be released.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Mm.
And, and it will look different for everybody. And listening to your body, listening to that wisdom. This is why I love the work that you do, I do, and all the amazing women. When we listen to our body wisdom, the ancient wisdom that's in our DNA,
Mm.
that taps in to more than what we can imagine,
Mm.
and there is mystery schools that have founded in the sacred passages, rites of passage for women. This is why I love this work. and coming back to the womb space and our yonis and understanding our cycles and energy, but then also how it can unlock our magnetism and our voice. And it was a process, like you said, an unfolding that I needed to experience this depth, emotion and understanding, and this it was richness that I can come back to and feel. Like, how blessed am I to know what that is, because I never knew what rage was, because I'd been always told to suppress it as a little
push
girl.
it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of that conditioning, and then being able to be in a space where you can feel the full intensity of it is a lot easier when you are with others that
Yeah.
allow that are just like, okay, let's bring that in. It's everything is welcome, all parts of you, a full acceptance. There's
Yeah.
that's what I really love about getting into that space where is that beautiful trust, that beautiful connection, that beautiful bond, so that people can move through these very quickly
Yeah.
and head toward their highest timeline. And something that we haven't really talked about is not just listening to the body, but listening to the extrasensory information that comes in, because that's a lot of the times the women that are coming in to see me are noticing that they have this intuitive intelligence, but it's fleeting. They're not sure if they trust it. They're not sure if maybe they're making it up. And so it's building up that spiritual self-esteem so that they know, yes, that is true for you.
Yeah.
Yes, that is meaningful. Yes, that is significant. How can that help you? What is that? Where is that guidance leading you? Is it okay to follow that? Can you be, can you align with the soul mission, purpose, divine purpose that is calling, has probably been niggling at you for quite a while? Is it okay to accept that?
I love that spiritual self-esteem. I haven't heard of that like phrased in that way. And it's like, yeah. And I know what that fleeting feeling is like, where you also like, yeah, you're not sure and you doubt yourself and you think you're crazy. But what I've found in my own experiences is through the body and anchoring that safety in my body, the knowingness of the intuition and tapping into that wisdom and the thoughts and the feelings, the remembrance pieces, to anchor that frequency in, has had to come back to integrating the emotions and the groundedness in the physical body to hold the frequency and the deep listening that's required below. And
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think usually what I share with women around being able to fully embrace their soulful identity is, one, to release all the gunk, release traumatic stress, emotional stress, energetic imprints, anything that's clogging up your channel. Then you're having that mental clarity, and then you're able to receive with so much more effortlessness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that we veered this way as well, you know. But yeah, a lot of it does come back to, like you said, doing the inner work as well. And there's this yearning and this calling within to find people like yourself, or find other women that understand, or there's something that again draws you to them. And when I was coming out of, or I was deep in my own traumatic pieces of miscarriage and losing my identity, something was drawing me back to women, and these women, Burr and another beautiful woman, Mon, were doing something beautiful together, holding this frequency of something. And it was that goddess frequency, that, queen energy. And, me being a mother, there was something beautiful about them that gave me an insight and another lens in their nurturing and mothering of me that I didn't ever expect, which was really beautiful to witness. So you know, when people say, if you haven't lived it, how can you give advice? You know, those people that are like, how, you know, but these women had something else spectacular that allowed me to have a lens to come back to the self and remove the mother cap, you know, that had been stuck on so firmly, and to come back to myself, to come back to the essence of who I was, that was really powerful. And that, you know, that selfishness, there's a sacred selfishness as well, where loving yourself and choosing the path that is calling you, knowing that it's going to have this ripple effect for your partners, your children, your family, your loved ones. It's sometimes a hard lean in, you know, to say yes.
And that's why, you know, you're very switched on about that. But a lot of the times we find ourselves on the self-healing journey, and we think that means, this is the greatest paradox that I find, is that we do that on our own. But really, you know, as you were talking about before, it's when you are connection with others that you start to unlock and have access to those different parts, to the ancient remembrance. Like, they are really just supporting you to have that transformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how powerful that you were able to sit in that space and to receive, because you know, a lot of women, they say, yes, I'm ready, but they're not always ready to receive.
Yeah. Oh, look, receivership is a whole other topic in itself. You know?
I know, we could talk for days on that, because I have a lot of stories around that.
Yeah. Oh, because as women, we give a lot, you know. And it's part of our nature, and part of, I suppose, for me, embracing that part. Like, it was like extremes of like, I give too much, I'm so in my masculine. And then it was like, oh, let's pull back into my feminine, rest, and it was this dance. And now I get to play in both worlds and honor both parts. With no story, because I choose to give my energy. I choose to be of service, because I understand that the more harmony it brings within me, and I can notice the other parts in the stories that still come to play.
Yeah. And that's when we're talking about you know, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, as those two spiritual energies that are within you. And when they are in alignment, that's when you feel integrated. When you can move and flow.
Oh, this has been a delicious conversation. I love it. And so, Erena, if people have been listening in, how can they connect with you and find you if they're like, oh my gosh, I need to see what other amazing things she can do to help me? How can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me on my website, www.lanternholistics.com. You can find me on Facey, on Instagram, all the good places where everyone hangs out.
Amazing.
And yeah, I have a few masterclasses in my link tree for supporting women that are experiencing panic attacks, to give them grounding techniques to support them so that they can live life really well.
Beautiful. And feel free to add the link into your masterclass or your link tree in the chat. I know I've tagged Lantern Holistics and yourself as well.
Sweet.
I love just sharing the love, because, you know, everyone's got their unique frequency and gifts. And I love that this is something you're passionate about. And I love celebrating people too. So if you have enjoyed Erena and her energy and the wisdom that's come through, and you feel called to connect with her, please do. And if you're excited about all of the things that I've been doing, there's so many things. You know, I know Erena has beautiful women's circles as well, but there's also an exciting live event that I have been planning with some amazing women from Brisbane, Gold Coast, and New Zealand as part of the Women Thrive Summit. And we are having a beautiful event on Saturday, the 2nd of March here in Greater Springfield at Brighton.
It's around the corner.
Yeah, you can come along if you're listening in, if you're local. because these women are amazing and sharing stories and their passions like Erena and I have done here and in the High Vibe Chats, family here. We get to share that in a beautiful space and connect and be inspired and empowered. So if you're free, check out the link, come along, bring a friend. And it's in alignment to International Women's Day as well. Count her in. And so it's the first of its kind here in Australia. So imagine TED Talks, but for women, and a beautiful way to share stories. So check it out, ladies. Connect with Erena. And also, if you're keen to come to an in-person event with many women and network, come along. Thanks, everybody. Bye.